Dusk Maiden of Amnesia gets really dark when it comes to like how a certain person dies and we'll say becomes a ghost. But at the same time, you have a guy who falls in love with a ghost because he touches one of her titties. So yeah, it's a very
Aichi-kun. But that's...
Huh? Huh? What? Hey, 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 hey.
wild anime at times. Because like I said, there's a very dark aspect to it, especially when it comes to the main character, the guy and the main character that's a girl. When it comes to both of them, there's a lot of like interesting things, like the dynamic between their relationship. But like I said, there's some dark moments. So I'm gonna talk about Dusk Maiden of Amnesia, and we're gonna get into this anime because, like I said, there's some dark moments at times, and there's some very, fan service-ish moments at times. So let's get into it. So if you've not seen this anime, just know I'm gonna talk about spoilers throughout this whole anime because I gotta get into it because I want to address some of the stuff that happens in here. But let's get into it, and if you just know, this is your one spoiler warning because we're talking about spoilers now. Let's get into it. So the main premise of this story is you have a guy named Taichi, whatever, and he basically goes to the old school building because he has to get something over there. And like in this old school building for like the past 60 years, there's been rumors, there's been stories about some ghost named Yuuko. And like basically if you look in this mirror or something, that you will see her or something. This man happens to look in the mirror and he looks behind him and she happens to appear there. And he's literally the first person that's seen her, like, ever, like, out of all the people that have seen her that have actually, like, acknowledged her. Because what happens is he basically, like, touches her, and, like, because he falls, and, like, where he touches her is on her titties. Yeah, he touches one of her titties. And just know that's going to continue to happen through this. But there's that. That's, like, that happens. I'm just kind of like, oh, this is the story? We're just doing it like this? And just know he's going to eventually fall in love with her. And you know why? It's mainly because he touched her titties, like, dead ass. Like, there's no other, like, ifs and buts to it. I'm like, dog, it's a ghost. Like, logically speaking, it's like, dog, I don't care that you could, quote-unquote, feel this ghost physically, like, you can feel it, but it's like, dog, all the other times you look very weird just talking to yourself and all this other type of stuff. So that just makes me think of that. But when it comes down to just, like, Yuuko, she's very interesting, especially, like, what happens to her, and, like, that's, like, the very dark aspect. So, basically, back around her time, there's an epidemic that was going around her town, and, like, people were dying off in the village. So, of course, like, the people in power, the elderly people in power, they had, like, the chief of the village and all these other, like, people. Like, the one thing, since they're scared, they're trying to figure out, like, why. They think the gods are cursing them or something. So they end up, like, what they end up really doing is, like, they kidnap this one little girl that's been sick, and they basically make her, like, be this one type of, like, god, and whoever's name she says, that's who they're gonna kill. And basically, like, she says Yuko's name because Yuko's there trying to save her, and she says Yuko's name. And what they do is they push her down like this old like hole, whatever, down these stairs. And it's like where an old shrine was at because the school was built on top of a shrine. And when they push her down there, she basically breaks her leg.
Takehiso-sama has spoken the name!
I'm scared! I'm going to die! No!
Please, don't move, Yuko-san! Your leg!
And they basically close that hole up that nobody can, like, hear her, and she's yelling. She ends up eventually dying, and that's where her body stays. And, like, she basically gets a grudge against everybody, and that's why her spirit is at this school. And like I said, it's very dark because it's like basically they just sacrificed this girl for no damn reason just because they were feeling hella crazy. So that's one of the, like, crazy dark moments that happens in this anime, and I'm like, damn, like, why? Because, like, before that you're just seeing all this other stuff that, like, because, like, basically the group that Taichi is, he makes a club, and you're gonna have, like, 2 other members that join. One of them is gonna be like I guess you could say, like, her great niece, Yuko's great niece, because, like, it's her sister's, like, granddaughter, whatever, that joins the club. And then you have another girl that joins, whatever. And basically they're trying to investigate, like, all the mysterious things that happen at the school. But it's mainly Taichi. He's trying to, like, basically find out, like, Yuko, like, what happened to Yuko, because Yuko, basically what happens with Yuko is she basically, like, forgets all these bad memories and she separates from herself. So she has her normal self here, that's the Yuko that you see, that's all the girl, whatever. And then you have this, like, her bad self that has all the bad memories that she passes, like, all her bad feelings off to or whatever. So there's that. And, like, they're basically trying to figure out what happens until, like, basically Taichi does discover what happened to her. And like I said, it's really awful and crazy because, like, the majority of the anime, we just have kind of this happy goal thing. We're figuring this stuff out, and then we get to this point, I'm like, damn, this shit is dark. And I'm like, damn, fuck these villagers. I'm like, dog, why did y'all do this? Especially as somebody young, and they're just because y'all are scared about, like, something that was happening. You didn't have to kill her like that, and that's what happens. And that's like the one thing that sucks about this anime. But like I said, the main premise of it, you're gonna have these two that basically fall in love with each other, and they kind of even start dating. And I'm like, dog, the girl can't leave the school. But I guess I heard in the manga that maybe she can leave the school or something by the end of the manga or whatever. But still, I'm just like, dog, you're with a ghost. I'm like, yeah, sure, but it's like, what if you want to have kids? You can't have it with no ghosts. Especially, what if it, like, when you're getting older, you're just gonna wait? Like, that's the one thing I just think about this. Like, I'm like, dog, this relationship is so wild. And it's mainly, like I said, dog, it is because he touched her titties, dog. This man fell in love because he touched some titties. This man never touched. He must have. I think the main character was just a guy that's never been with any type of woman before in his life, and that's why he fell in love with this ghost, because he touches his ghost titties. Because like I said, dog, he's gonna touch it multiple different times, because either by accident or because she asked him, like, I want you to touch me again or whatever type of shit. And like the first time you touched me, whatever the fuck she says, yeah. That's what I'm kind of like, dog. Like, you had me here with this story. It was interesting seeing them investigate stuff, but then, of course, they had to throw, like, little fan service here and there, and I'm just like, did y'all really need to do this? Like, I don't have no problem with fan service. It's just when it's like, dog, y'all can't have this man fall in love with this ghost because he touches her. Like, dog, no. That was like the part where I'm just like, dog, this is so stupid. But then they got me again when you show her backstory, and I'm like, damn. I was like, that's really messed up what they did to her. That's like the one thing that gets me with this. Is just like that backstory is what really just gets me. Where the rest of the story, I'm just like, oh, it's cool, learning different stuff. And like, you even have her getting jealous, and you have like all these other like love interests that would be there for him, but you know he's after the ghost. Because I mean, this has 13 episodes, and you can still tell that he's going after the ghost. Like, even though you have two other love interests that clearly like him, but it's like, he's like, hey, the ghost let me touch their titties. I touched some ghost titties, so yeah, you know I gotta holler at the ghost. So yeah, that's basically what he's like. But now, if we're gonna talk about this anime, there's one thing we have to discuss. Is when out of nowhere Kirue literally starts doing JoJo poses, and like, it's out of damn near nowhere. Like, it makes no sense. She just starts doing it randomly. When we get closer to like the later half, I think episode 10 and onwards, or maybe 9, out of nowhere she just starts hitting every single JoJo pose every time she's talking to the main dude, and just, it makes no sense. I was like, dog, I know everything's a JoJo reference, but I was like, dog, why is she just randomly doing this? It was so like weird. But then at the same time, I was like, okay, I see you hitting all these damn poses. But then I was like, dog, why are you? But yeah, that was one of the most random thing, besides cuz, you know, of course, cuz falling in love with a ghost because he, you know, he touches her breast. Besides that, of course. But when Kirue was literally hitting all these JoJo poses for no damn reason, I was like, okay, I see you, but why are you doing this right now? But it was funny because like the first time she does it, it just catches you so off guard, because I'm like, what is she doing? I'm like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, why is she hitting all these poses, and why is like nobody like saying anything? If I just saw some girl randomly hitting some poses while we're talking, I was like, what are you doing? But he does not, like, nobody mentions it at all. They just act like it's normal. Like, it's like, oh, it's just this normal thing that happens. But it was just like, it's funny. That was like one of the random funny things that happens. But hey, like everybody says, everything's a JoJo reference, though. Yeah, if you've seen this anime, let me know how you feel about it. Because like I said, it's more of like it has like a little bit of mystery aspect. Because I enjoyed it, just like the little mystery aspect to it. Just like trying to figure out like why she's haunting this school and all this. And like learning her backstory. And even like learning that, yeah, she might not be the only ghost that's in this school, until like you figure out it's like her hateful spirit, because she's separated. And it's just like interesting, and just like her backstory, like I said, was very messed up, but it's still just cuz falling in love with this ghost because he touched her chest is still the funniest shit, bro. I don't care. That shit had me rolling when I first watched this, especially when you get towards the end. You're just like, dog, no, he did not just fall in love with this ghost because of that. Because it basically seems like that. I don't care about like, what relationship they developed throughout the whole series, dog. It mainly comes down to him touching her chest, and it just, you can tell by the end that's what it was. Because like when she's like, oh, you touched me in the same place you touched me at the first time we met, and I'm like, dog. And it's like, dog, if you see this anime, you'll know, because the way she gets her memory back of cuz she tries to make oh yeah, I forgot about this. She pushes this man down the stairs and like basically makes this man like almost like break, like what does he break, like his leg or some shit, because she was jealous. That's when I was like, dog, get away from this ghost. I totally forgot about that shit. That shit was wild. I was like, dog, get away from this crazy ass ghost. But yeah, after that point, she basically like, she takes her memories of like him and gives it to like her bad self or whatever. And yeah, this story is this is a very interesting anime, but like I said, it's wild at times. And like I said, the only reason why she gets her memory, like all her fully memories and like everything all together, is because this man touches her in her chest again. It's wild. But yeah, like I was saying, if you've seen this anime, let me know how you feel about it. If you've not seen it, why not watch it? Me rambling about like what this is about, hopefully that interests you and wanted to check this out. I watched it on High Dive, but like I said, you could always, you know, pirate this bitch and watch it on something like Zoro 2 or some whatever other anime streaming site you want to watch it on or whatever. But yeah, if you're new, why not subscribe if you enjoyed the video? Why not like? If you didn't, you could dislike, subscribe if you really enjoyed. But yes, let me know how you feel about the Dusk Maiden of Amnesia, because I think it's a very interesting anime. It's just, it has like its highs and it has its lows, and it has just like, why is this happening? But and then it has just like, why does he fall in love like this? But like I said, when it gets dark, trust me, it gets dark, because that was a really dark scene, that especially when we learn about her past. Probably when we learn about her past was probably the most interesting thing about the whole anime to me. Like, I was just like, wow, these villagers, I'd say these old men, I was like, fuck them. That's how I was feeling the whole time. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting anime though. But let me know how you feel about it in the comments though. If you've not seen it, go watch it. If you have, just let me know how you feel about it though. But thank you for watching. I'll see you next video though. Bye.